The following contains references to death, domestic violence, road rage, and hot wax. Listener discretion is advised. The HairyFwumpus.
People in small towns, much more than cities, share a destiny. Richard Russo. The morning was bright and clear, with a hint of autumn in the air. The smell of decaying leaves, or whatever makes that earthy smell in late September, when the nights get shorter and the air gets crisp. It's the scent of change. I was in the breakfast nook of my split-level, red 1969 ranch at 26 Orchard Street in Mansville, New Hampshire. My name is Marty Owens. I have lived here for 22 years with my wife Claire and our 6-year-old son Jacob and a schnauzer named Moxie. I sell tires at Big Bob's Tire Outlet. I know. It's not the most glamorous job, but it has kept food on our table, and we all need tires, right? My wife Claire is a nurse at St. Stephen's Hospital, about a half-hour's drive north from Mansville. Jacob is in the first grade at Indian Springs Elementary School, and he loves trucks. Fire trucks, tow trucks, big trucks, small trucks. If it's a truck, he's good with it. The morning was a Saturday morning, and I remember it perfectly. I was sipping my second cup of strong French roast. Man, I used to love that stuff. Halfway down the third page of our local paper, the Mansville Press, something caught my eye. It was an ad for a new business in town. There were only a handful of businesses in Mansville. We usually have to drive to Concord to the big box stores if we need anything. So I was intrigued. It was an ad for a car wash. I thought it was kind of strange. Would there be enough people to support a car wash in Mansville? It would open in a couple weeks, and it was called Mr. Sudsy Bubbles. I made a mental note to myself that I would check it out. The days rolled on and the nights got colder. The sun was not seen for a couple of weeks after that sunny morning in the breakfast nook. Usually a pleasant and warm Indian summer happens at this time of year. Instead, a gray gloom settled over the town. I told Jacob about the car wash coming to town. He had so many questions about the car wash. Most important to Jacob was if trucks could get washed there as well. And why wasn't it called a truck wash instead of a car wash, Dad? He was excited, like a lot of the town was, to see this new thing, and we made plans to go through the car wash on the day it opened. That day was slated for October 9th. Friday, October 8th, we tucked Jacob into bed at his usual time, 8 p.m. sharp. I read to him from the tales of Tommy the Rescue Truck, one of his favorites, and he was fast asleep by 8:30, dreaming of Tommy, no doubt. I gently closed the door, and Claire and I had some wine and cheese, and we were in bed by 10:30. At around 4 a.m, we woke up to a ghastly scream. It scared us both. It was Jacob. We ran into his room, and he was sitting upright in his bed, his face white as a ghost, with tears flowing down his innocent face. He told us in a very shaky, broken voice that there was something under his bed. A monster. Jacob said he heard swishing and breathing sounds from under the bed. Carefully, he peered under his bed, and that's when he said he saw it. A face staring at him, with white glowing eyes. Claire and I checked under the bed, and told Jacob about nightmares and how real dreams can seem sometimes. We assured him that there was nothing evil lurking under his bed. He slept with us that night, in our bed. It took a long while for him to get to sleep. Well, the billboards were all over town on October 9th, and they said,
"Come one, come all to the grand opening of Mr. Sudsy Bubbles, the best car wash around. To celebrate our grand opening, we're giving away free car washes, hot dogs, cotton candy, soft drinks, and there'll be face painting too."
October 9th was a cloudless day with plenty of sun, and an enormous crowd, larger than I expected, showed up for the new car wash. But then again, Mansville isn't exactly a hub of excitement. Jacob, Moxie, and I milled around the crowd. The smell of hot dogs, cotton candy, and hot wax was in the air. A DJ was playing music, and I saw my neighbor Jim Ham, a really sweet guy who was in his mid-70s at the time. Jim was very excited to have his spotless 1972 Cadillac Eldorado go through Mr. Sudsy Bubbles. We talked about his wife Helen for a little bit, who was recovering from a knee replacement surgery. Just two neighbors catching up. But he was the first one to tell me about the deal. Oh, his eyes lit up when he explained it to me, too. The deal was what got everyone hooked, and this is it. After the first 25 car washes, the customer gets unlimited car washes at Mr. Sudsy for the following year. Unlimited. Unlimited, he said as he got closer to my face than I felt comfortable with. I could tell he had a hot dog or two already. And, he went on, you get a Sudsy bumper sticker to prove it. Such a deal, such a deal, he said over and over, until he said goodbye and finally pulled into line for his maiden Mr. Sudsy wash. I thought we should follow suit too, so we jumped into our Honda Pilot and got in line behind him. We drove around the corner to the entrance of the Mr. Sudsy building, and there he was, Mr. Sudsy himself. Well, not a person, but a painting of what looked like a giant clown with soapy bubbles for hair and white flashing lights for eyes that went on and off, on and off, on and off. His mouth was huge and wide open, and that was the entrance to the car wash, right into his mouth. As we drove through the Sudsy's mouth entrance, I realized Jacob had never been through a car wash before, and his comment made me laugh. He said, "Wow, this looks like a HairyFwumpus." I'm not sure what that is even, but I loved his imagination. Our other passenger was not into it at all. When we all rounded the corner and saw the entrance in the shape of his face, Moxie freaked out. He woofed and whined all the way through Mr. Sudsy. I think he may even preferred going to the vet over the HairyFwumpus. But I have to say, our Pilot never looked cleaner. It was almost too clean. My Save the Whales bumper sticker that I had on the car forever was still on there, but all the letters got washed off. Now it just looked like a white stripe on my bumper. The HairyFwumpus became a Saturday ritual for Jacob and I. We never brought Moxie again after that first episode, and he growled at the place even when we drove past it. We were about 10 washes in when Jacob and I went through the Fwumpus again, only this time was different. Jacob was unusually quiet when we entered the Fwumpus's mouth, and about halfway through, when the big Fwumpus brushes come down to spin all around the car, he became unnerved. The brushes were louder, bigger, and well, just different. I didn't feel comfortable either. I thought the machine must have been broken or something. But Jacob started screaming, and it scared the hell out of me. The scream sounded just like the night he thought a monster was under his bed. Dad, did you see his face? It's the same monster from under my bed. Same white eyes. Same swishy sound. I didn't know what he saw or what he was talking about, but he became frightened and started crying. Jacob's anxiety grew, and he became more distraught as we went through. "Let's get out of here," he screamed at me. But there's nothing I could do. You can't just get out and walk away when you're in the middle of a car wash. And you can't hit the gas either because you're on that track thingy. It only has one speed. We finally emerged from the exit of the car wash, and yeah, of course, it's Mr. Sudsy's butt you emerge from. His bottom was painted on the opposite side of the car wash as the entrance. His head turning over his shoulder, smiling and giving a thumbs up, proud of the shiny car turds exiting his bottom. Jacob was bawling his eyes out. We hugged, and I promised we would never go back to the HairyFwumpus ever again. I guess I would not be getting into the 25 club after all. But I was the exception. Most were eager to get to the magic 25 number. Reaching the 25th car wash became an obsession, an addiction for some, kind of like a cult. Well, they'd get their car washed in the pouring rain, just to click off one more number. Yeah, they kept the Fwumpus open in the rain. The first 25 Club bumper sticker I saw was etched into my memory. I remember because I was almost in an accident with this 25er. I was at the intersection of Main and Peaceable Street, sitting at a red light. The light turned green. I put my foot down on the gas to go through the intersection when I caught something out of my left peripheral vision. It was a Dodge Ram barreling through the intersection. If I didn't look up then, I would have been T-boned. I caught up with the Dodge Ram at the next light. I honked at him, and he flipped me off, rolled down his window, and told me to go fuck myself. And then he took off again, right through another red light. As he pulled away, I saw his bumper sticker. A gaudy-looking thing. Bright red, with a giant number 25 on it, and the word club right after that. And right after that, Mr. Sudsy Bubbles himself, with a caption coming out of his cartoon mouth, with the slogan, "A clean car will get you far." I could easily spot a HairyFwumpus 25 clubber, because their car would have that crazy-looking Mr. Sudsy Bubble face bumper sticker slyly grinning at you. The second thing I noticed was that many of the happy customers with their 25 wash bumper stickers were always almost the most aggressive drivers. I had many near misses, getting cut off or almost getting hit when they run a red light. You know, crazy stuff. When I saw a 25 Club bumper sticker on a car, I braced myself for the road rage that would inevitably happen, and it happened daily towards the end. Something was clearly off with the HairyFwumpus car wash. I realized that when my neighbors of 17 years, Jim and Helen Hams, remember with the Eldorado, they were the first to reach the fabled 25 Club. They met in high school and married at the very tender age of 19, and have lived in this town for the past 56 years. Seriously, the sweetest neighbors you could have, who are always ready with a helping hand and a warm smile. It was the Hams that really got me thinking. We always preferred to leave our windows open on warm summer evenings, and we would hear our neighbors sometimes. But after the Hams reached that magic 25 car washes and got their deal and their bumper sticker, I heard more conversations from the windows, but not in a nice way. It got violent sometimes, the screaming, the dishes being thrown. I remember the first time the police showed up and tried to calm them down. Truly a sad and scary night. Pretty soon the police were making frequent visits to the house. They became less friendly towards us. Helen would sneer at us when we crossed paths. Jim flipped me off when he saw me. What was happening to them? And it all came to a head on September 16th, which also happened to be their 57th wedding anniversary. They were arguing full tilt as usual. And at this point, we had all our windows closed so we wouldn't continue to hear them anymore. That didn't matter. We heard the shot anyway. Jim shot his wife of 57 years in the head, dead. He got in his Eldorado and drove off. We called the police when we heard the shot. They later found Jim had shot himself, in his head, in his Eldorado, as he was rolling through the HairyFwumpus. A note was found on his lap, reading, "A clean car will get you far." That shitty, nonsense slogan of Mr. Sudsy Bubbles, a.k.a. the HairyFwumpus. What happened to the Hams? Our town had become something it wasn't before, a place filled with hate, fear, paranoia, racism. But the cars sure were spotless. The town shut down, and no one trusted each other anymore. The residents would often lock themselves in their homes, heavily armed, hoping and waiting for something or someone to help them exercise their Second Amendment right. Only a few businesses thrived during the Fwumpus period, including the Guns and Ammo store, Big Bill's Blow 'em Away, and the town liquor store, the Grape and Grain, and the town bar, the Dewdrop Inn, and of course Mr. Sudsy Bubbles, you know, the HairyFwumpus. I stopped having my car washed at the Fwumpus, and I survived. The following incidents led me to a final decision, the one I do not regret, even to this day. Schools in our town had to close as the outbreak of fights and violence became too overwhelming for anyone to handle. Road rage incidents increased by 1,000%, leaving many in the hospital or the morgue. Domestic violence rose sharply, and families fell apart, and murder and suicide rates spiked. Churches and other outreach organizations closed their doors. The upheaval coincided with almost everyone in town receiving their 25th car wash sticker. My hunch was proven true. People radically changed with the exposure to the HairyFwumpus. To test my theory, I went through the Fwumpus 5 times in a row. In the mouth, out through his butt, over and over. The people who worked there thought I was crazy, but they didn't seem to even care. They were just happy to get me to go through as many times as possible. And they all had that vacant look about them anyhow, the people who worked there. Not really connected to the world. After my 5th and final time, I felt mad. Really, really mad. Why does that guy have a better car than me? Why are the Mexicans taking our jobs? Why aren't there more people who look like me? With my skin color, why are there gays, transgenders? Why are they trying to take away my freedoms? As these thoughts went through my head and I became more agitated, I was driving my car faster and faster. I ran a red light and clipped another car. It was completely my fault, and I barely noticed. I was so pissed off. The guy I clipped was also mad, and he was a 25er. We both got out of our cars. I started cursing at him, and I threw the first punch, but he was bigger, stronger, and had more car washes under his belt than I had. He knocked me out cold. When I came to, I was in my bed at home, clueless as how I got there. Still mad, but also now aware. 2 things were obvious to me. 1, my face hurt. 2, I had to act. That very night, I filled every gas can I could find and went to the HairyFwumpus at midnight. And even though it was closed, I could hear sounds from inside. The structure seemed to be alive. It was breathing. Steam was coming out of its vents. Mr. Sudsy sounded like it was groaning in pain. It sent a chill up my spine. I did what I came to do. I poured the gas all over the building and lit it up, laughing like a crazy man. As it burned, I heard screams. The building was screaming, and it continued to burn and scream. It lit up the night sky, and right before it collapsed, even before the fire department and police showed up, I saw it leave. Mr. Sudsy Bubble, the HairyFwumpus, laughing, screaming, swirling like a dust devil. Bubbles and steam erupting from this cloud of evil. It rose straight up 500 feet above its burning coffin, the car wash. Suddenly, it swooped down, straight towards me. It passed right through me, knocked me down, and scared the shit out of me. I saw the monster that lived under Jacob's bed, that lived in the Fwumpus, and then it was gone. A white, soulless wisp into the night sky. I was arrested for arson, and I'm now serving time in the New Hampshire State Penitentiary. Access to the prison library helps me pass the time, but nothing could prepare me for the ad on the last page of the local newspaper. Mr. Sudsy Bubble had a grand opening in Pleasantville, 2 towns over from Mansville.
Remember, horrorists, if the deal is too good to be true, it probably is. And you could end up paying with your soul. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have to go wash the horror-mobile.
Thanks for listening to Hothead Horrors. I release a new tale once a month. Please like and subscribe to keep the horror coming. You can also listen on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Stop by hotheadhorrors.com to pick up some merch if you like.